Josh, and this episode is brought to you by Great Lakes Discs. Whether you're looking for cool new gear or your new favorite disc, Great Lakes Discs has what you need. Click the link in the Linktree link, and you will see the Great Lakes Disc link. Click that and start your shopping today. While you're on the Linktree, you will also see a link for Ideo Sports. If you want to take your game to the next level, make sure you get Ideo shoes on your feet. The only disc golf shoes made by disc golfers for disc golfers. Also use my discount code disc.seeker to save money on your next order. Without further ado, I'll let my guest introduce himself, where he's from, and how he even got into disc golf.
Hey, and so much. Thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. It's an honor. So I'm Jaani Länsiö from Finland, and my disc golf name or my YouTube name is DG Spin Doctor, which probably people know me from a little bit better than my own name. So I'm from Finland, Helsinki, the capital of Finland, and I started playing when I was 14 years old, and it's roughly 26 years ago. So I've been involved with disc golf for more than half of my life at this point. I remember I was counting this when I was like 30 years old or something that, I'm approaching the 50% line at this point when I've been playing for more than I've lived. But yeah, 26 years now playing disc golf, and I started when I was 14, and I attended a church camp. We all have to go if you're part of the church. We all have to go through a confirmation camp, and it's usually in the summer when you turn 15, the year when you turn 15. And there was this kind of a janitor guy, part of the staff, maybe 5 years older than I was, and he introduced me to frisbee sports in general. He brought some putters with him to the camp, and we played the ultimate a few times there. And after the camp, I attended the ultimate club of the church. So every Sunday we played a couple of hours in the evening um, with whoever came to the field. And then after we played a couple of games of Ultimate, we went to play disc golf. I didn't like the sport really. I just I thought it's mostly standing. You stand around and then you toss a frisbee every 2 minutes, and that's it. You don't get sweaty. You don't get that social. You don't get to run. You don't get that adrenaline rush of like diving for a good catch and scoring. And so I didn't like disc golf at first, but I think it just grew into me for some reason. I just started doing it more and more, and after a couple of years of keeping them both with me, I just didn't play the ultimate anymore. I only played disc golf, and I think it's like I was I think I was 15 when I attended my first tournament. Yeah, I was 15. It was 2001. So I was 15 back then. Then I started my not the professional career, but like proper disc golfing career where you play tournaments and practice for tournaments.
Yeah. So, how long did it take you to get from like where you first started to the point where you're throwing like crazy far and being very accurate with your shots and got your form right?
I'm not sure if I still get there. Still, I haven't gotten there still, but I would say it took me about. I mean, I'm 15, 14, 15 when I start, so I'm still a scrawny teenage boy,
Mhm.
not fully developed. And I think when I got stronger and I started to look like a man at the age of 20, let's say 23, 24. I think I peaked at around 2009 and 2010, something like this, when I was 24, 25. Because at that point, I've been going to the gym for about 6, 7 years. I practiced quite a lot, also, um, mainly distance throws. And I was very interested in form and how to develop my own form. Even like when I first started, I was super interested in learning the form the proper way. Sadly, I didn't, but and it took me quite a many years since I really thought that I understand something about the form. But yeah, it took me about 7 years to really get where I feel like I know what I'm doing and I feel like I can reach almost any par three or something like this.
Yeah. So you mentioned something about weightlifting. How important is weightlifting for disc golf? Because I always get a decent amount of pushback when I mentioned, hey, maybe you should like work out to get stronger to be able to throw further. So how important is actually weightlifting for disc golf?
Weights, weights in general are not important. You don't need to lift weights, but you need to be physically active. So just so that you know how to move the body, you know how to work with some resistance, and just to be able to locate the muscles to throw the disc. It's easiest to locate the muscles when you work out in the gym and you have all the equipment, but it's quite easy to just use rubber bands and body weight too. So I would say bodybuilding is the stupidest thing you can do for disc golf. Also using uh, too heavy weights, like if you want to do powerlifting, go for it, but probably not that beneficial. I would say explosive moves done with the body weight and resistance bands. That's plenty enough for 90% of recreational disc golfers and even professionals. I wouldn't recommend you bulk up or do anything like that. That doesn't help. I mean, look at the best players. Gannon Burr doesn't look like he can lift 100 pounds from a bench press. So, and he's doing okay.
Yeah. And I, occasionally you do get a big guy that does do decent, like Ezra Aderhold. He's a big guy, and somehow he does pretty good.
For sure, and I'm sure David Wiggins was doing a lot of weightlifting. The former world record holder Christian Sandström, which was like when I started playing, he was the biggest arm ever, and he used to compete in like men's some kind of men's classic physique or fitness competitions, something like this. So he was shredded and used a lot of weights. And he mentions also throwing free weights just to prime his muscles for distance competitions. So that's where I got the idea from. Actually, just looking at him, like, okay, I want to bulk up too.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to kind of design like a workout plan for yourself to give you the best results?
I don't know. I never really thought about disc golf when I went to the gym. I just wanted to lift weights, mainly to look good, because young men, vanity, ego. I wanted to have big arms and big chest and big back, and that's what I work to. But it's really I rarely even thought about disc golf when I worked out. Maybe I did some rowing motions and tried to mimic throwing, and once in a while I tried throwing the like 2 pound free weights just to mimic like throwing motions. And I once bolted some small iron plates to my very worn out disc just to get more weight on it. But that doesn't help really. It only is gonna mess up your form and your wrist. So
Yeah.
I've done it all.
But I've seen you posted videos of doing the towel. Can you explain what the whole idea with the towel is? Because I've seen that in a couple of your videos with the snap.
Yeah. So if you want to practice your throwing motion, especially backhand indoors, if it's raining or it's freezing or whatever reason, you should never do it without any weight. Because if you try to throw as hard as you can without any resistance in your arm, you will hurt. It really has hurt me also pretty badly. But if you have a small kitchen towel, it gives you enough resistance so that you are not just uh, like whipping air as hard as you can. So that gives you a little bit of feedback also, that you have some weight in your fingers. You grip something, and then when you whip the arm, you um, you kind of get the sense of, okay, I'm gripping something and I'm aiming with it. But the towel is especially important so that it slows you down just a little bit. And one thing that's super important is that I don't grip the towel, because if I grip the towel and I don't release it ever, then it gives my muscle memories a kind of a wrong information that you don't release something that you whip forward. And if you transfer that motion to disc golf course, it'll give you a lot of grip locks. So that's why I always wrap the towel around my wrist and I only hold it between my fingers like this, so that it's nothing close to gripping a disc. I don't want to teach my fingers to not let go of the disc.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty good right there. I would never thought about the grip in the towel. Yeah,
Yeah. Some people do that, and maybe they get away with it, but I don't. So
yeah,
I once tried this kind of contraption where you have uh, a rim of a disc and a towel attached to it, and I get the idea behind it, but also you have to release the rim of the disc because otherwise you'll learn to not release it. I mean, you don't release the disc ever, basically, when you throw hard, but also you don't want to grip it so that it doesn't, you don't let go of it.
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, at what point did you shift from being like a competitive player to I want to start a YouTube channel where it's dedicated to helping people get better?
Hmm. Well, I started my YouTube channel. I think it like the first edition of my YouTube channel was back in 2019, and it was in Finnish only. I, I've I had always been very active on forums and groups discussing technique. And my only and the initial thought was that instead of trying to type out what I mean, I could I might as well show it on camera and talk. And that's it. And for some reason, I got a lot of traction and people started watching me. And then I started making more videos and realized that, okay, I'm getting quite popular doing this. Of course, because of the pandemic, and the pandemic boom brought a lot of new players, amateurs, uh, wanting information about disc golf and going to YouTube. So I really, I I got like 10,000 subscribers
Wow.
in less than a year or so, like quite a lot. Being a very small country of Finland and a small language, how do you say? Well, small language of Finland, Finnish. And it was never really a conscious choice to just focus on YouTube, but one thing led to another, and then I just started making YouTube videos. Also, um, I hadn't been that active playing tournaments in many years before that. I think first time I took a vacation, like a whole year absence from tournaments, was 2013 or 14, because the two previous years I battled with a really bad yips. And yips is a thing that's really hard to explain, but it's kind of an involuntary twitch in your arm, um, as you perform something that you really know how to do, but
Hmm.
for some reason you forget everything. Quite common in golf, even more common in baseball. You see baseball pitchers just throwing like air balls. There are some very famous examples, like can't remember the names. Well, one was like a rookie of the year or something, and the next year he just couldn't pitch anymore, just forgot everything, and uh, took a couple years off and went to the backfield. Anyway, so I've battled quite a lot with that, and it got worse and worse and worse and worse. I started to get panic attacks because I was so afraid of getting the yips, and it started to feel like I just can't control anything anymore. If you've seen, and you've probably seen Evelina Salonen struggle on the putting green, it's a lot like that. So I feel very strongly when I see Evelina or Henna struggle from the bullseye and not even hitting the
Hmm.
basket, because they know how to do that. But for
Yeah.
some reason, the brain says to your arm, the moment you release that, don't release. Just just hold on to the disc, and
Yeah.
off it goes, 45 degrees to the right. And it's, you don't know what happened. It feels like an electric shock just hit you, or a lightning or something like that. That
Yeah.
wasn't me. That wasn't me. Like, I did not do that. But yeah, I struggled with that for like 5 years or so, and then I decided that, okay, I can't go on like this anymore. So I just started to teach people. I felt like I want to contribute to the sport that gave me so much. And if I can't play, I want to do something that I know better than playing.
Yeah.
Is is the theoreticize? How do you say that?
Uh,
Theorize the
Theorized.
game itself. Theorize the
Yes.
game itself. So I'm not good in practice. I'm good in theory. So I'm good at explaining stuff. And this is what I want to do, and this is what I know how to do. So I explain what happens and how to get there. Even if I don't get there, I might help you get there. And this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So, what is the number one thing that you see wrong with people that send you form videos that people are doing wrong constantly? And how could they fix that one problem?
Well, the biggest problem by far is timing. And what I mean by timing is that you really have to get to, I mean, especially backhand, you really have to get your front leg hitting the ground before you do anything with the arm. That's just non-negotiable. But I see, especially when you try to throw like full power distance, people take this huge, fast run up, and they get kind of so jittery with their arm or so anxious to throw that they forgot to plant. So they're almost on their back leg. The front leg hasn't even hit the ground, and they already go full power, which, which means that essentially, even if you coil like this, but your leg is not on the ground, your front leg is not on the ground, but your leg is on the ground as you are on the in the power pocket, then the throw basically starts from here. So this is just dead air, and now it starts. So you lose all the power. That's by far the biggest problem. Also, a problem that I'm fixing all the time. And I see some professional players do that. The
Yeah.
best the best don't have that problem.
Yeah, the pros somehow like they do like I don't know how to properly explain like what I see other than like it's like they have such a lag between their hips and their upper body where that front foot is planted even before the rear arm is fully extended back yet. It's just like
Yeah.
how the heck are they doing that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, one of my favorite form examples is Simon Lizotte. He seems like he spends a week on the plant before throwing. It's like, and the run up is fairly slow when you watch Eagle, and it's like he walks, slams the brake, and throws.
Yeah.
And that's you don't need that much of a run up. You just need the perfect timing. Everybody, if you're a healthy individual, healthy adult male, you can throw 400. Really, I assure you, you can throw 400 feet if you get the timing even 80% correct.
I must have like maybe 30% correct then because I only get 300 feet.
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
probably that's the point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you're onto something.
yeah. I mean, you see my form videos. It's a very
Yeah,
interesting backhand to say the least.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting, but also like there are so many moving parts when you try to throw as hard as you can that if you just slow down like 20% of everything, you'd get 80% of everything. But now, when you go full power, everything as hard as you can, you lose the timing.
Yeah. So do you have any drills or like tips to improve people's timing and to get people to use their hips?
Well, I think one steppers help the most. Like, ditch the X step, just do the one stepper. And e- even when I do the one step drill, or just well, I rarely practice standstills anymore. But when I do the one steppers, I think I throw 10 to 15% less than shorter than my full power. So
Oh wow.
it really doesn't give that much power if you take the X step, really. So one stepper will definitely give you the sense of timing. And when you internalize and your muscles and the brains know the connection between the leg and the arm, you just have to teach these individual parts like leg hits the ground, arm goes. You just have to do that so many times that your arm starts to anticipate the feeling from the foot before it goes. So taking it slow and doing the one step where you really emphasize slamming the brakes, like over exaggerate, like hit the heel down and then go. You just have to get the feeling.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you know the answer to this, but who actually came up with the idea that we need to X step at the backhand? Because like when you do forehand, there's so many different ways to throw forehand, but backhand seems like everyone has to X step. You have to do this, this, and this. Like where did this
That's
all
a
come
good
from?
question. That's a good question, actually. We'll have to go to the 70s, I'm pretty sure, because y- y- you've seen, I don't know if you have seen, but I've seen some of those like old distance competition videos. Some of the players take the X step, and some of them just walk like the wrong way, the back foot going to front kind
Mhm.
of X step. But I haven't seen that in decades. But I'm pretty sure we will have to go to the 70s when people surely have figured it out that you get more coil if you cross the legs for a while. but I have no idea. That's actually a good question.
Yeah. So is that like the whole purpose of the X step is to add coil for the back end?
Yeah, prime the hips for coil, because if you take the X step the wrong way around, like the back leg going in front of the front leg, you'll have to zigzag your way to the coil. So you just can't do that. Also, crow hop is a totally valid way of taking the run up, where your both legs are in the air at the same time for a while. Like Seppo Paiju used to do that. I think
Kristen
there are
Latt, she
some
did
good
that.
huh?
Kristen Latt did that, the crow hop, didn't she?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, 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 absolutely. Garrett Girthy, I think, has a quite a high crow hop, so he really comes down from very high up and slams down, so he gets really a ground action. There are some good players who do that.
Hmm. Does Silva X steps, right? I think she X
Yeah,
steps.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So what actually coils better, the X step or is the crow hop that like coiling the same way, just a different style?
I don't know if there's that much difference. I like the crow hop because I want to feel the body weight going like to the ground fast and hard. So I get the better feeling. But of course, it's more of a question of if you prefer the vertical or the horizontal run up in a way. So vertical run up would be like Seppo Payu or Steve Brinster from early 2000s. He was a distance guy also. Like he had the crow hop. So he comes from quite high and slams down, and I guess you get a better hip action also from straightening the leg. So it's not as much going forward and stopping, but going down and going up in a way. So there are different kind of ideologies. I'm not sure which one is better. It's just a personal preference, I guess.
Yeah. So which one do you prefer? You crow hop or X stepper?
I'm in between. I'm trying to do the crow hop nowadays, but I'm not really sure. It feels hard for me because I haven't done that in years, in decades, I would say at this point. But when I started, I did the crow hop. But I feel like that might get me a better feeling. But I'm not sure at this point. I'm kind of in between run ups.
Yeah. So if you could give just one quick tip to like people tuning in to disc golf that are looking for just something to improve their game at a rapid pace, what would be that one tip that you could give?
Play with people that are better than you. That's the fastest way to improve is to play with people who are better than you. And then don't hesitate to ask questions. People actually love when they're asked questions and tips because, I mean, if a beginner wants to know how you do it, it feels so good. So don't hesitate to ask. There's nothing wrong in asking questions or tips, or if someone sees what's wrong with my form, or how do you do that, how do you think about this type of situation, what kind of a grip do you have, and stuff like this. It's so much faster when someone tells you what to do and how they do than you just trying to guess your way to improve. So easiest is to play week leagues or some club league tournaments where you really don't decide who you play with. So you might end up playing with better players than you are.
Yeah, that's a good one. So you were talking about earlier practicing for tournaments. So how did you used to practice to get ready for tournaments? And do you still practice today or is that just not a thing anymore?
Well, I'm not sure if I practice or do research, because whenever I throw or I go to the field or the putting basket, because I'm not practicing for myself anymore that much. I mean, I do want to improve, and I wish I could play tournaments, and maybe at some point I will play tournaments. But when I don't have a clear goal in my mind, I don't see much point in practicing that much. So I do research. I try all different stuff. I try different grips. I try different kinds of run ups, as I told you, and different kinds of putting styles, different kinds of everything. Like, what happens if I think I do this, even if I probably do the same thing that I did before? Like, how would my wrist work differently than before if I change my thinking patterns when I throw, or something like this? But back in the day, I played a lot of rounds. I don't do that much anymore because field work is fun and field work will give you instant feedback of your form. But when you play casual rounds or even with a small bet, you get to situations where you would never go on a field, and you'll have to throw different types of shot that you wouldn't you wouldn't do normally. So I just played a lot. And also, I had a lot of friends who played with me. I don't have that many friends anymore to play with because all of my like playing buddies they've quit long time ago. So so I just need to find new playing partners at this point. But yeah, so we used to have like small like like putting bets, every kind of like putting games we played against each other. We did a lot of that, I would say. Like putting games, also approach games, anything. Because when you just practice alone, you do like 100 putts from this place and 100 approaches from that place or whatever. It gets repetitive. It feels a bit mundane at that point, and you don't focus on every shot. But when you place even a small bet and you play with a partner against your friend, there's that small pressure that makes you focus and concentrate on each shot. You want to win. You don't want to lose, even if it's for an ice cream or a soda or whatever. So that kind of stuff we did like all the time. Small bet that gives you that small edge to try a little bit harder.
Yeah. So, how big is disc golf getting in your country? And I'd imagine it's getting big because like the European swing went over there, and I'd imagine it wouldn't be that hard to find some new guys to play with if it's getting big over there. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, disc golf is pretty big in Finland. Probably the second biggest disc golf nation in the world after the US, of course. The last estimate was 1,100 courses in all of Finland, which is quite a lot for a small country compared to the States, and only 5.5 million people living here. But I feel that disc golf is getting actually smaller from the pandemic boom. So that was huge back then. Of course, we got a lot more media coverage. People who even don't play disc golf might know Niklas Anttila at this point. So because his name is mentioned in this like the sport pages and news outlets are telling if he wins or if he's second or third or whatever. So uh, definitely we get a lot of media coverage, but I think people have moved on from disc golf because disc golf was huge during the pandemic because there was no indoor sports and there was no team sports, so people had to do something, and the growth was insane. At I feel that we're like slightly declining, normalizing, but of course we have a lot more players than we had in 2019 for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So speaking of media, from since I started watching the Pro Tour last year, last year's my first time actually like watching it. And I seen you in the broadcast booth when it got over to the European swing. So what was that like working in the booth? And are you going to be back this season when they come back over to Europe for the swing?
I'll do a few tournaments. In Heinola, they have a dgpt and the Finnish championships also. So I have two tournaments I'm going to be the color commentator in. And to be short, it's a lot of fun. It's super exciting to be part of this historical thing. I mean, when I started playing disc golf, I would never have imagined, like, of course, we're talking 2000, year 2000 when I started. Internet was kind of a new thing still. Like, it's
Mhm.
been around, but it's kind of a new thing. I would have never guessed that you could watch live disc golf and on this professional level. Like, no way. And I'm part of that. It's amazing to think about it, like how far we've come, and I'm actually doing this. So that was fun. And also the crew we're working with, they're so much fun, professional people. They take this very seriously. And one thing that I'm really grateful for is that the people behind the scenes, they do all these things to make us commentators look better than we are, really. So uh, I remember doing one round with uh, Charlie Eisenhood. I think it was in Norway, the Sula Open or something like this. Brian Earhart was supposed to be in the booth, but he got stuck on an airport or something in the States. Something got canceled and he couldn't come. So I rushed in to cover him. And there was the DGN crew. Normally, the European crew is doing the Finnish stuff. That was my first thing um, with the American crew. And Mahmoud, who's the producer of DGN, was yapping all round to my left ear, telling interesting stats, telling what's going to happen next, who's going to throw next, things like, okay, so there's AB trying to go over the OB, but he 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 leaves it a bit short. Let's go watch it, and stuff like this. So there's always something going on in your ear, warning us commentators what's going to happen next. And if there's like interesting roll away to the OB, they might not tell us because, I mean, quite a many times we see pre-recorded footage from a previous hole or something, but they will tell us like, okay, watch this shot and something interesting will happen, or stuff like this.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they'll tell us, okay, talk about how treacherous this green is for the next 1 minute. So fill we need to fill dead air for 2 minutes. Talk about the rivalry between Paul and Ricky, something like this. And they feed us all these things, so it's a lot easier because talking for 8 hours in a day about disc golf is really hard unless you have amazing crew like DGN has.
Yeah. The whole time I always thought you guys just memorized these stats. I'm like, holy mackerel, that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, we have like the studio setup is that we have like a couple of big screens in front of us, and then me and my partner, we have our laptops, and we're like constantly typing, looking for stats, and we get all these stats that the viewers don't have also. So we know stuff that you don't know and you're not supposed to know, just to keep the magic alive.
Yeah. So obviously I wasn't into disc golf when the whole Paul and Ricky rivalry was going on. What was that like, and how do you feel now that they're like buddy buddy on the same team together?
Well, I'm not sure if they're that buddy buddy, but of course they're on the same team, and they're not dominating like they used to. I mean, Ricky is still there, and Paul quite often after a few dry seasons. But yeah, funny thing, I remember seeing Paul first. I think it was 2010 or 2011 at the European Open. It was a very young kid back then, and if you remember the hole at the Beast, the island hole,
Hmm.
uh, the 16, I think he just lost it at I think it was second or third round. He just lost it and started throwing discs. Took like 12 or 13 on that hole. And I remember talking to my friend like, I don't know if that guy's gonna ever make it to the like like not with that attitude. He's never gonna make it. I was wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it was yeah. I remember 2015 when Paul won basically every tournament he attended to, and it was sick. Like he was unbeatable. But then, luckily for the sport, 2016, 2017, Ricky picked up the game and started winning, and Paul had to start practicing again. So
yeah,
I think Gannon is quite close to the like peak Paul at this point, and I just hope other players will pick up their game fast because it's getting boring if Gannon wins all the tournaments by five or
yeah.
four shots.
Who do you think is going to be Gannon's rival? Like basically, like who, like Paul and Ricky. Who do you think is going to put up the biggest fight for Gannon?
I hope someone new that we haven't heard of before, like someone who's like bubbling under like 30th, 40th. But I feel AB is gonna be the biggest rival because when AB is on fire, he's really up there with Gannon. Like
Hmm.
there are no differences. They both throw super far. They have good forehand, like the best forehands, and they know all the shots. They're great putters, but so far Gannon's have had the upper arm basically because of the head game
Yeah,
mostly.
yeah. I was going to ask what is holding AB back, because if he has like all the throws, why is it like very hit and miss for him?
Yeah, I think he tries too hard. I mean he's gotten a lot better in just few years. But could be that he tries a bit too hard, maybe to prove himself or something. There used to be a time where he always went for the harder shot and like tried to eagle some holes that only he could, probably just to show that he's the only one who could do that, even if even if it cost him a birdie eventually.
Yeah,
so so I think he just needs to slow down a little bit. He probably has the same kind of issue as Simon Lizotte has or had, where he just went for in the most insane route just to show that he has the power that no one else has.
yeah. So speaking of Simon, the other Crush Boy Eagle, what do you think that injury that he got a couple years ago? Do you think that was basically the end of kind of him pushing towards the top, or could he eventually push back towards the top again?
Well, I hope it's not the end of his career. I mean, he's had some pretty good tournaments after that. So I don't really know what's stopping him at this point. Maybe it's just a question of confidence. Uh, I mean, usually it is. This game or this sport is all about confidence. There are 50 people who can play or who have the shots. Everybody has all the shots. Everybody has what it takes to win. except the confidence. And if you look at Gannon, when he misses a 40 footer, he's shocked that he missed that. Like, oh, it was the wind, the wind. It's a
Yeah.
40 footer, 40 footer. You can't make all of them, but he's shocked because he's so confident that every time he putts, it's in. And if it's not, there's something wrong with the air. So it's not his fault, even.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe because like Eagle looked like he was doing good with Discmania, and then when he went to MVP, it's just like I don't really see much of him anymore. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking,
I mean, maybe he just can't find the right molds. I don't know. I mean, MVP has a huge lineup. You really find everything you need, I guess. Like, I don't know their discs that well, but it's for sure it's a bigger lineup than Discmania.
yeah. Speaking of discs, what do you throw? Like, what's in your bag? If we
Well,
were
I'm
to go
pretty
out
old
and play
school.
around,
I'm pretty old school. So when I started, there was only Innova in Finland, basically. And so it's back then when I started to pot with AVR, the mid range was Rock. The drivers were Eagle and still are. So I haven't moved on from those days. Destroyer came, I think, 2008, 2009, and that's when I picked up Destroyer. It replaced my rates. I throw Envy, though, which is a new disc,
yeah,
and some special discs like Gator, something like this every now and then. But it's mostly Innova. And if I happen to have a disc by another manufacturer, I have maybe one, one of those kinds.
yeah. We gotta get some trilogy in your bag.
What?
We gotta get some trilogy in your bag.
Well, I'm not against it.
Yeah,
I think I have some Westside discs um, warship, I guess, for understable mid range.
okay, there we go.
Yeah, yeah,
It's something.
yeah. It's something. It's a start.
So as we're wrapping this up, you got any questions for me?
So, what's your biggest? What do you think is your biggest flaw that keeps you from improving or keeps you from being where you want to be
My
as a disc
back,
golfer?
my backhand all day because I
Yeah.
rely on my forehand so much that like when I'm in situations, I don't have the confidence to throw my backhand, which I could probably hit a gap with it, but then I'll force a forehand where it doesn't belong.
Yeah. I have the same problem with my forehand because I used to have a really solid forehand like 420, 430 footers. Then I injured my shoulder for a while, and after that, even if it doesn't hurt me at all to throw sidearm, not at all, I just don't have the confidence anymore. I feel like if I do this, it'll hurt, but it doesn't. It never does. But I just don't do it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I struggle in woody courses so much because there'll be a backhand gap, which I know I could hit, but I'm like, I don't know. And then I just grab a disc and I rip a forehand, and sometimes it kicks a tree and puts me in a bad spot where I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, maybe you should play like backhand only rounds every now and then to just get used to the feeling of forcing yourself to throw out of your comfort zone. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta do
Just
something because it's
yeah, yeah.
definitely holding me back.
Yeah, and I will also throw sidearm only rounds, just for fun, and
Yeah,
it also takes you the pressure from performing well because that's practice. You only practice. You're only getting used to something. You don't have to play well, and maybe it ends up being a good round because you don't have the pressure. I don't
yeah.
know.
Any other questions?
How's your tournament life going? Do you attend any tournaments?
Yeah, I just had one yesterday, which it was a rainy weather, cold.
Hmm.
First round was in the woods, so it was a struggle. I had to fight really hard to keep even. And then the second round was a wide open course, so I was able to rip forehands. And I pulled off a neg 7 and climbed up from ninth to finish second.
Oh, cool!
Yeah,
Congrats.
yeah. So that
What
was
what
kind of
make
cool.
what makes you attend tournaments? What's the best part of playing in a tournament?
Getting to meet new people and getting to play with other people that I've never played with before.
Yeah. Are you more interested in that or performing well, or do you get any like performance anxiety?
Definite performance anxiety. So if I think about competing too much, I end up just destroying myself mentally. So if I focus on watching other people and how they attack a hole and kind of like think about like, oh, why'd they choose that? That helps me kind of be relaxed and then be able to perform well. But if I think about
Yeah.
competing or like competing, like if I look at the scoreboard or something, I mentally I just become shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I'm not really sure what that like why it actually is that way, but it just happens. So I just try and avoid it as much as I can.
Yeah. Do you think people are interested in your results? I mean, are you performing for others then, and you get anxious because you think people pay attention to what you do, and if you don't play well,
Yeah, I think like even though it's not true because like nobody really cares like about my tournaments or what I'm doing, I always feel like people are watching my like scorecard. If I don't perform well, they're like, "See, I told you he's not that good. I told you." So
yeah, 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 I get that. I feel that very often, but also when I look at my like, am I interested in how other people play? Not really. Like, I don't pay attention to other people's scores at all.
mhm.
So maybe they think the same about my scores too and yours.
Yeah, yeah, because at the end of the day, you stop and think about it, it's like I'm a MA2 guy, a no namer playing at a local like tournament. Like, who the heck really cares? Like, no one's taking time out of their day to scroll through. Oh, what's this guy actually doing?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but when I started to do the YouTube stuff and I started getting name as a coach or as someone who knows his stuff, my anxious levels like skyrocketed because you get the pressure of performing well because you're the guru telling others how to throw.
Hmm.
So let's see how you do it. And I felt like all eyes are on me, like watching how I perform.
Yeah,
Now I don't think that much anymore, but it's still in the back of my head when I throw that. If I mess up this shot, who am I to tell anyone how to shoot?
yeah. Like for me personally, like this podcast, like since I started it, actually has helped me with my like performance anxiety because it's kind of like I'd rather get be known for my podcast instead of being known for how I play. So
Exactly.
I always think of this podcast as being more important than what I do out on the course.
Absolutely. You're providing,
Yeah.
you are doing stuff for the community. And if you only play and take the winnings, I mean, maybe someone gets entertained watching you play, but I think this entertains people more.
Yeah. I mean, I am very entertaining when I throw. I hear it all the time with people I've never played with. They look at my throwing forms, both forehand back. They're like, "That is very unique." I'm like, "It is."
Okay, so you make people's lives a bit lighter with
Uh
your
huh.
game. And that's good.
Yeah. Final question I have for you is: what are your
Mhm.
goals for this year, and where can people find you on social media?
Well, social media, Jaani Going Places is my Instagram handle. DG Spin Doctor is on YouTube. And what my plans for the year? Well, I hope to play a tournament somewhere in Central Europe because they seem to have fun there. Like if you go to Austria, Germany, France, Croatia, it's still a bit old school. like from my point of view. They're like 10 to 15 years behind Finland. They still enjoy each other's company. They have on-site lunch. Um, they have all kinds of special little games there, like putting games or accuracy game or mini disc golf or whatever. Whereas in Finland, we only come to play the tournament or our round and then leave. We don't have any that much social gatherings there. But if you go to Central Europe, it's mostly about sociality, and then you play on also. So that's my goal for this year, to go to, let's say, some new country to play a tournament. Maybe
Yeah.
Romania.
It'll definitely be cool to see you back at a tournament and re-experience just the joy of it instead of performing for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And go somewhere where people just enjoy playing and not competing. There's a
Yes,
difference.
definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a good night.